Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, you just can't measure up? It's like you're constantly chasing something: success, approval, security, only to find that the goalposts keep moving on you. Right? But what if the problem isn't you? What if the world itself is upside down? I mean, the Bible, it tells us that as humans, we have all chosen to declare our independence from God, believing that we know better than Him. And we all have to admit, we've been guilty of thinking that doing things our way rather than God's way will lead us to a better, freer life. But this mindset, what the Bible calls sin, it doesn't bring freedom, right? Instead, it turns the world upside down, just leading to confusion and brokenness. And so in this upside down world, we constantly hear things, right? Like, follow your heart because you know what's best. Or, make a name for yourself because that's how you prove that you're worth something. Or chase after success and status and wealth because these are the things that are going to fill you up and fulfill you. But Proverbs 14:12, it warns us. It says, there's a way that appears to be right, but in the end, it leads to death. And isn't this exactly what we experience? I mean, we chase after these things, hoping that they're going to bring us life, but instead, all they do is they leave us exhausted, anxious, and empty. The world, it measures our value by how we compare to those around us. We compare ourselves in our achievements or our appearance or our social importance. And if we don't measure up, we just feel like we're nothing. But Jesus came to turn everything back right side up. I mean, Romans 12:2 says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And so essentially what it's saying is there are two ways for you to see yourself. The world's way, which your worth depends on what you do and how you compare to those around you. Or Jesus' way, where your worth is given by the one who made you. Like the world says, make a name for yourself. Jesus says, let me give you a name. The world says your worth depends on what you achieve. Jesus says your worth is found in who I say you are. The world says work harder, do more, be more. And Jesus says, come to me. I'll give you rest. Now, I think the biggest problem with the world's way is that no matter how much you achieve, it's never enough. The world keeps you stuck in this endless cycle of striving and comparing and eventually coming up short. And it's like being on this never-ending treadmill. But Jesus flips the script. He tells us that, and now, catch this, our value isn't something that we achieve. It's something we receive. And this actually makes sense. We see this principle play out all the time around us, that worth is determined by the authority in charge. I mean, for example, take a $100 bill. I mean, the bill is just paper. The material itself isn't valuable. Most paper is worthless. We take a scrap from a piece of notebook paper or a crumpled up receipt, and we just toss it in the trash. But a $100 bill, man, that's different. It has value. Why? Because the authority in charge, the government, has declared it valuable. And so don't miss this. The same is true for you and for me. Your worth isn't determined by your success or your status, performance, or even the opinions of others around you. You are valuable because God says so. He made you. He loves you. He calls you his own. And so just for a minute, take that $100 bill again. I mean, if it gets crumpled up, if it gets torn, if it gets left in the dirt, does it lose its value? No. It's worth the same. So maybe that's how you feel right now. You're worn down or told that you're not enough, or maybe even starting to believe it. But please hear me. Your value has never changed because the one who defines it never changes. You are immeasurably valuable. And I know this because God was willing to pay the highest price possible, his own blood, so that you could be his. So take a deep breath. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to chase after the world's approval. You don't have to live under the pressure of measuring up. You're already loved. You're already chosen. Already enough in Jesus. So just walk in that truth of who he says you are, because that's your true identity. I love you guys. I'm praying for you this week. I'll see you next time.